is Lisa here, and welcome to Squad, your #1 spot for esports and gaming. We have another fun-filled day for you as usual, so here's what's on the rundown. First up, we got Brody and Marissa butting heads as usual in Unmuted, and then get your wallets ready because we're taking a look at the latest game releases in the loadout, and then later in Esports in 30, we have Ron and AJ getting us caught up on the Overwatch League. But first, before we get to all of that, let me get you caught up on the news and reported. The Washington Justice may have only won a single game in Stage 1 of the Overwatch League, but they're already looking ahead to improve their roster. The team has acquired a new support player in Arc from New York Excelsior ahead of Stage 2. Arc is known for his expertise on Mercy, and he'll join several other former NYXL players on Justice. His former teammate Janice, along with his former coach Wizard Young, joined Washington in between Season 1 and 2. Arc himself was surprised by the trade, but he later tweeted that he's looking forward to improving his new team's record. In other OWL news, Philadelphia Fusion player Elk revealed that Shanghai Dragons flex tank Guardian bought himself out of his own contract when he played for Toronto Esports last year. Guardian left the team at the end of July and has not publicly said why he left the Contenders team. According to Elk, Guardian was so upset at Toronto Esports that he bought out his own contract, so he wouldn't play for them anymore. Toronto Esports was the Contenders team for Boston Uprising last year, before it became famous for abruptly quitting Contenders in November after being asked to change its name. The name change was asked because Blizzard did not want two teams with Toronto in its name, since Toronto Defiance would join the league for Season 2. The move caught Toronto Esports players off guard, though the Uprising retained ownership of the team's staff and players. Ubisoft announced this week that its pilot program for revenue sharing in the Rainbow Six Siege Pro League will be getting bigger. The publisher will add 16 teams to the program, which saw participants earn revenue for in-game purchases on team-branded items. This time around, teams will also receive a 30% cut of the net revenue overall, with 30% of that reserved solely for players. As well, the Road to the Six Invitational promotion will also return, which will see 30% of net revenue going towards the prize pool for the Six Invitational in February. The new program will run through seasons 11 and 12 of the Pro League, the first of which begins in June. Even teams that participated in the first pilot program, like Team Liquid and FaZe Clan, will have to reapply to take part in version 2. Here's hoping the players get a decent chunk of change this time around. Get that money, Rainbow Six! Now the question is whether it can actually outdo the Dota 2 international revenue sharing. Remember, you can always reach out to us on our socials at Squad State because we want to know what you're thinking too. Now just in a bit, we're going to be taking a look at the latest game releases in the loadout, but first, it's time for Marissa and Brody to share their thoughts on the latest topics hitting the esports world in Unmuted. And the top tier opinions. I'm Marissa Roberto, aka Turkish Delight.
I'm top tier host Brody Moore. At least that's what I tell myself. And hey, if you're new, welcome. And this is how the show works. I'm Rob, and I will each present a topic, and we'll have 2 minutes for discussion.
Ooh, at any point in those discussions, if one of us feels that the other one needs to shut up for a variety of reasons, we can hit this here mute button and put our friend out of misery for 30 seconds. And it's time for you to place your bets, though, because I want you to tell me who you think will mute first. It's a hey guys for me and a kappa in chat for Brody, because, well, look at his face.
Why do I get the kappa? What does that mean? What is wrong with the kappa face? She's a kappa hater.
Kappa. I love kappa.
Well, you're saying something, you're insinuating something bad.
Quit saying kappa so people put kappa in chat so they'll vote for you. I know what you're doing.
2 minutes on the board.
Let's kick it off with stories from the great news. Well, I guess great news for Apex Legends players. The first battle pass for Apex Legends came out today. The pass costs roughly $10 US and will feature 100 levels that unlock different skins and items. However, players are unhappy that most of the rewards are banners, level icons, and skins that are pretty disappointing, to say the least. So, Brody Moore, are you excited about this new battle pass? What would you change about it if you could?
Few things on this.
Okay.
Number one, I'm not putting money into this, so I'm not particularly attached to items that are in it. I've heard some gripes about it. You know, I was even playing Call of Duty the other day. I'm like, some of these skins are uninspired. And that is very disappointing for people that are investing a lot of time. If they go in and they're like, oh, I'm gonna grind out this battle pass for skins that I don't really care about, it is disappointing for sure. And right now, Apex is in a really good spot to set the bar, like to really push themselves forward. And if they start coming out with disappointing content, that's gonna kill off that battle royale pretty quickly. It is a very competitive scene right now in the battle royales.
Okay, whatever, Brody. Honestly, it's $10. People can pay it or not pay it and still enjoy the game.
That's another
for free.
thing.
No, what?
Almost $10, right? I think it's 995 coins or whatever their currency is. And I'm pretty sure you probably can't buy just 995. You probably got 1,000. Now you got 5 left over because they want you to have some there so that you'll buy more after.
Okay, listen, this is all just speculation on Brody Moore's part because he's not going to buy it anyway. He's not going to put money in it anyway. So what does he really even care? I'm not going to put money in it either. I'm enjoying the.
Why are you tripping me
I'm
for
just
this?
saying, don't chirp if you're not even going to spend the dough. This is for honestly kids. I swear to God, because it's happened in Fortnite. Kids got to get the skins, they got to get the emotes, or else the other kids online are making fun of them and they're bullying them. So we'll see if this kicks off or does anything with Apex at all with the kids that are playing. We don't need this stuff. And I think it's a beautiful part of freemium games. You don't need it. When you don't need it, that means it's a valuable freemium game because we don't actually need these things to play and make sure that we're good in game. It's just skins, and that's all it should be is skins. I appreciate this.
At the same time,
what?
I really do like that Wraith knife. And I want it, but I won't spend money. I was just hoping to get it through the crates that they give you for free, but I doubt that'll happen because it's a really expensive item.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you're
really
changing your tune.
No, I'm not changing my tune, but it looks really nice, and I can get why people would want to buy it. And like, it's very tempting, but I'm not.
This is what I'm saying. They got something shiny, it's glimmering, it caught Brody's eye. They're doing their job, right? They're doing their job. This is how freemium games work.
But not if everyone's disappointed in the skins. Anyways.
No.
We'll see if they get new ones in the future. We're done here. Sticking to first-person shooters, Call of Duty is getting a mobile game. It will be a free-to-play multiplayer game featuring elements from past COD games, including maps like Nuketown and Crash. No release date is set for the game, though Android users can register for a beta. Call of Duty on mobile. What is this?
I'm just waiting for you to unleash your fury of hate because number one, it's a mobile game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If there's mobile in front of it, you immediately hate on it. That's like your quick go-to. It doesn't even matter. Nobody gives mobile a chance. I'm sorry. And I know that like, oh, she's a casual and she likes mobile games. Listen, there are some really great mobile games out there. Just give them a chance, man. Maybe it's not COD. In fact, it's probably not COD, but outside of that, Roller Coaster Tycoon is great. Classic, that Atari, it's really nice.
If I have to go down the road and say, you know, like mobile games are acceptable, there is a line I have to draw. Shooters just don't work that well on it. You know, like shooters, it's hard. But if this really, I don't know where this is releasing. If this releases in China though, it is going to do so good. Like that market is insane right now for mobile games. Like PUBG is crushing it over there. So like if they release there, this is a really, really smart move for them. They're gonna get a couple people from North America just because COD is such a big household name with, you know, like the bro gamers and that. Like it is a classic game.
I don't see any bro gamers playing this on mobile.
Well, that's the thing. It's like some might, you know, a lot of the people that played Call of Duty back in the day are like, I know so many people that aren't gamers anymore, but they played Call of Duty. Maybe now when they're on their way to, you know, their 9 to 5 or whatever, they're gonna play some Call of Duty, get back, you know, some nostalgia in it.
Sure. It's just obviously the issue of that tactile feedback that you're missing when you're playing a mobile game when it comes to shooters, okay? So I'm not sure exactly how the mechanics are gonna work with this game, but you're right about the whole China thing. Absolutely, they saw how quickly PUBG took off. Remember everyone, it's all about the money. It's all about the dough. And mobile games make a lot of freaking dough, especially overseas, especially in China. So yes, this makes complete sense.
As long as they're good skins. They can't be disappointing skins.
Yeah, of course. Fair. It has to be good skins. Fair point, Brody Moore. Listen, moving on. Over the weekend at Collision 2019, a Smash tournament in New Jersey, a player named Mars left in the middle of the match because he believes an audience member was shouting out his game plan to his opponent. Mars said this was coaching, and though coaching was not banned at Collision, it was at Genesis last month. So, Brody, should coaching be banned in Smash?
Wait, so Mars had someone yelling his game plan out, or
yes, to his opponent sitting in the audience. There was an audience member, and so he quit the match.
This is a tricky dilemma. Like I'm looking at it from like a TO perspective because it's like
and for those who don't know, Brody used to TO a lot of Smash.
Where do I start? Okay, so Smash is great because of that atmosphere. You're face to face with another opponent, and there's people behind yelling, the trash talk, all that. FGC is all like that as well. And it's an amazing atmosphere, and that's something I don't want them to ever lose. But that is a bit of a problem. If someone has heard or played with you before, and then they want this other person to win, that's almost collusion now. It's like, that person needs to be shut up, but how do you do it? Does a TO come in and say, okay, we got to pause till we get rid of this guy? Do they just deal with it now? Do they deal with it after? That is a really tricky situation to deal with. I mean, immediately what I would do is wait till that game in that set is done, and then remove the guy, then continue the set. That's what I would do.
Okay,
but I wouldn't get up and leave. Yeah, no, that's I would say that's a forfeit. What you need to do is you get up and tell a TO and say, hey, this is a problem. Can you deal with it before we finish the set? Him leaving instantly, that's a forfeit. You're done. You're out.
Okay, so as a TO, that's how you'd handle that. I do agree with that because I do feel like as a player, you need to finish your match. Like just no matter what, finish. I understand that you felt that the situation was unfair. Totally fine, valid, and the whole community will back you up, absolutely. But the fact that this guy wasn't removed at all. Like I need to know that there's some kind of ramifications for people coming in. If you're a Smash fan, if you believe in this community, you should be coming into these games, all of them, with fair play in mind. You should never be calling out the opponent's whatever strats to the next person. Like not cool at all. Just if we're all in this, we're all in this together. Let's all play fair.
Yeah, no, we're at the FGC and Smash included, they need to grow up a little bit. It's fun, but there is a little bit of growing up to do, right? All right, moving on. The playoffs for Stage 1 of the Overwatch League begin next weekend, but there's been some confusion over seeding. Seoul Dynasty and San Francisco Shock are tied for 6th and 7th and will play a match to decide who gets what seed. But Toronto Defiant and Philadelphia Fusion are both opting for a coin flip to determine the 3rd and 4th seed because they both want the 4th seed to play against the weaker Atlanta Reign in the first round. Now, I got thoughts on this, but I'll let you go first. I'll be nice.
Oh, you're gonna be nice?
Yes, I'll let you set it up, and then I'll do my spiel.
I mean, Brody,
I just don't want you interrupting me.
Well, there is a mute button, Brody. But
that's true.
No, this is interesting because I obviously believe in fair play, like we had just discussed. I feel like everything should be played out. If there needs to be a deciding game, that game should be played out. Now, as a fan watching, for you to cheer for your team to lose is so strange that I understand wanting the coin flip because both teams are not going to want to win this game. And everyone in the audience and all of us watching from home, we all know that they feel this way, right? So it makes us as an audience member feel a type of way. Like we want our team to get what they want, but we also don't want them to bend the knee. Like you don't want to see them take a dive in match to not win. Like that's just bad juju.
Yeah.
That is bad juju. So you do not want to not play your best Overwatch, right? So coin flip, I feel like, is a fair ask in this situation.
I was just letting you go as long as possible. I should have muted because that was exactly my point. Yeah, no, I mean, I think what's incredible about this is that they're giving them the option to do a coin flip rather than play a match. Generally it's just assumed in any kind of competition that you play a match to decide a tiebreaker. Or maybe, I guess, sometimes rock, paper, scissors, but that's usually not why, because there's a little bit of RNG involved, right? So the fact that you're giving a coin flip to it is kind of nice, because it just, everyone knows that everyone will be trying to throw that match.
I'm sorry.
It's not even him. What?
I'm sorry. Can you back it up 1 second? How is there RNG involved in rock, paper, scissors?
A little bit.
How?
Huh? Because you can't do, it's hard, because you don't, there's too many, go. Best of three. Best of three. Best of three. See, it's RNG. That's why she won. It's RNG.
No, the rules need to be established ahead of time.
That's how you can prove if a game. I was close. I didn't have 30 seconds to spiel though. That's how you can know if it's an RNG game, is if she wins.
You're so stupid. Now it's time to see what Stream Snipers are up to in Clip It. Lots of streamers have been hoping on the GTA wagon, hopping on the GTA wagon. Thank you, I can read. And streamers Silent Sentry had something to say about the reemergence of GTA 5 roleplaying.
Yeah, dude, yeah, roleplay's been around for years, man. It's blown up a couple times that people lose interest because of drama. People allow drama. Here's what happens every time on roleplay. I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. Streamers find out that roleplay exists and it's just a gold mine for content. They get on there, their view counts inflate, everybody's view counts inflate. Then people stay on, and stay on, and stay on, and stay on, and stay on. And now they're tired and bored, but they stay on because when they switch to the other game, their view count goes on, so they stay on.
Okay, but is he wrong?
No, so I think what he's getting at is that people get into it again, and when too many people flood anything, you're going to have a bit of a just worsening of the situation. I'm losing my words on it. Because it just it waters down the experience, I guess. What happens is he was talking about drama, so people get into it, more people get into it, they stay in it, they don't leave it, they get bored of it, so they have to start doing really weird and dumb things.
Okay.
Right? That could actually ruin the experience for other people.
Okay,
maybe
like the Fallout 76 thing that you showed me with the maze, with the killing animal.
That's so different. That's so good.
No, that was ruining someone else's experience.
No.
Yes, it's a perfect example. Thank you.
That person decided to go into the...
Shut up. Moving on. Our next clip is from Shout, who shows us that no matter how hard you try to be the good guy, bad timing complicates things.
Wait, I added it. We're fine. Holy sh! I don't have time.
Oh,
I just...
Shroud.
Oh my god, I feel bad.
Come on, man.
He just.
What did he say? What did he say?
He said, "Holy f*** this Shroud."
Oh, Pepe hands.
Oh my god. I'm sorry.
He's not.
Can we get our Pepe hands in chat, please? Pepe hands in chat. Oh man, that's what feels bad. You actually get into a game where you teamed up with Shroud, and he bails on you.
What?
That feels bad, man.
Why? Why would you ever do that?
Yeah, I do my best not to leave matches, like to drop out once I'm in one. But there are times where it's just like, you know you're probably not going to do well with these guys. They picked a bad drop point, and it's like your friends just got on. It's like, I could just leave and play. There's no rank. Yeah, I don't find it bad because there's no ranked points right now. Right?
Okay.
Right now, you're not messing with someone's rank. If you leave in a ranked match in any game,
that's rude.
Screw yourself.
Yeah, that's straight up rude. It's not okay.
that is not cool. But it's fine. It feels bad. That's just how good of a guy Shroud is, though. Like, he felt so bad that this guy was so stoked to play with him.
I know. I love Shroud so much.
I'm hoping
he's a good Canadian boy. It's time now for Profound Thoughts as we head to our favorite place to find them, Twitter, where all of us just shout things out of a window, hoping that someone will notice. Our first tweet comes from the bathroom stall, a place where I, too, like to do my tweeting. This one comes from Smash Clipboard saying, "This bathroom is out of toilet paper and Big Spill is dead ass making me money match for a new role."
Yo, straight up?
This is that's the doo-doo. That's evil.
As much as I love it, this is what I'm saying, Smashers. You gotta, what are you doing? How dirty that's gross, man. Now you got like poop germs all over your
nasty
Switch.
Yeah, that's
and now
nasty.
You're gonna bring that somewhere else, someone else is gonna touch it. Did you wash your Switch before bringing that out back into the public, into the wild?
I feel like this is a good PSA though. Like, if you're going to an event where people are also bringing their Switches and you're gonna play some games with them, maybe you should just be aware that those Switches are probably in the washroom with that person. Like, I'm not saying I haven't played Tetris 99 in the washroom. Like, you need entertainment sometimes. So, just be wary of portable devices and where they may have been.
I think just going to a Smash tournament, you kind of have to realize that Smashers weren't always known for being top-notch in hygiene, so.
Oh, is that what you got out of the Smash scene? The TO of the Smash scene you got out?
Yeah, well, there was actually a clause, fun story, there was actually a clause in one of the tournaments I ran that said, if you stink, we will take you outside and spray you down with Axe. Straight,
that doesn't make things better.
It's better than BO.
No, I'm sorry. When you smell horribly and you just spray yourself with like that crap, it's just like, it's like a mix of all different kinds of smells. Okay, I can't.
Another friend of mine had in his class, they actually had BO bouncers that would not let you into the venue if you stunk. But we're gonna stick with these guys that we're speaking so much love to. Stick with the Smash community, from one getting love from Nintendo and the other sort of getting it now. Hugs has words. Hey Nintendo, here's the entire scene. Here's this entire scene, but we literally built it on our own with established rule sets, casters, players, and personalities. Want to get involved in a meaningful way, maybe? Nintendo, 18 years later. Single limb, timed, items on, Smash Balls, Wi-Fi, no cash prizes. Cool, got it. Thanks Nintendo.
I mean, I'm sure you have feels about this, considering you've
Lots
lived
of
in this
feels about
scene
this.
for
And
so long.
The thing is, Hugs kind of summarized it
Yeah.
for us there. I mean, like it's been that way for so long, and that makes it so hard to get out of that grassroots mentality because you don't have a first-party support coming in and being like, guys, you got to professionalize it up a bit, you know, because they're not getting that support. How are we gonna do that without Nintendo behind it? And I was hoping Smash Ultimate would finally be the one that Nintendo was like, yeah, let's do it right. Here's our fresh new game. We'll push it, even use it as a marketing tool to sell it to more people to just casually play the game. It doesn't matter. Support it, you know?
I feel like they support Ultimate a little bit more.
A wee bit.
I mean, yeah, they're putting on tournaments. Yeah, they have their own rule sets for sure.
Yeah, with god-awful rule sets.
Yeah, I don't like the items on thing. I really don't like that. I don't like playing Smash with items on.
And they're on
at all.
Wi-Fi too. It wasn't even wired.
Yeah, that's messed up.
That's an instant.
We got feels, Nintendo. We got feels. And now for something completely different. In the felt cute, might delete later category.
Okay.
CSGO Pro, question mark, because he kind of is. D-Sanity goes tarps off, noting he's back from the dead.
Jesus.
Leaving us all dead.
All right.
Thank you.
That is a good looking dude. That's a
listen,
pro?
Okay, first of all, do you feel like it's cool to objectify bods if like they're out there for objectification?
Oh yeah, he put it
Hot
up.
topic.
Yeah. Okay, there's a whole other can of worms we're gonna open up here. Absolutely. If you put yourself out there and say like, yeah, like look at me, you're not the only thing, I'll say right now, I won't go into the science too much. The only thing that the human mind can actually recognize is the face, right? There's a study that came out saying that if you look at any other part of the body, the face is the only thing you can actually recognize. If you're showcasing that and taking attention away from your face, then you're saying, objectify me. The part of your brain that identifies objects is the same as when looking at any part of the body besides the face. So you are saying, objectify me by taking your shirt off and looking hot like that.
And that's science.
So it's okay. It's okay.
That's science. Brought to you by Brody Moore. You're welcome.
It's all right. Let's move on. That was weird. I guess I gotta start us off with the only thing crowd controlled. By the way, is what we're starting off. The only thing I know to talk about it's Rocket League. I've always wondered what RL and VR would be like, and apparently so did TF Bradley. So he did just straight up make it.
Okay, alright, I'm gonna go try to steal this ball. We're going up the wall for it. And we spin out right before we get there.
Yeah, we both this. Oh man, this looks like how we actually play Rocket League.
Exactly. Oh, the cheeky chip.
Yeah.
Yo, that's legit, dude.
Yeah, you're so excited about this.
So the only thing I realized after those, I don't know if that would be good with like flipping around. Like they didn't add flips, they had jumps, and there was no boosting, it looked like.
And to be fair, they were driving like Ferraris.
You just bust out your Corvette and Lamborghinis and get into some Rocket League.
It's less Rocket League, more just
To be fair though, Rocket League does have real life cars. Like they put the Nissan Skyline in there, right?
Okay.
Like there are real cars in there. The Jurassic Jeep as well.
Okay, let's do a mix. How about let's mash up Rocket League and Forza Horizon?
In VR.
Shall we? In VR.
In VR.
That
Maybe
might
not
be
VR.
something
That
special.
could be. I don't get nausea, but that could.
No, so no flips. So no flips.
Okay,
There's
no
just like
flips.
there's just a ball on the road that you need to get to a certain point.
Just like
That'd be fun,
a straight race with the ball.
Yeah, straight up.
That'd be chaos, dude. I'm down.
It'd be nice. Our next clip comes from the latest episode of The Simpsons, which has been blowing up the esports world. So food bowls at the computer desk. Check. Playing in the, we're not doing the play in the bath. Okay, that's fine. Let's see. What else you got here? I feel like Nelson, I don't know, like Nelson on the team?
I didn't get to see it.
Okay.
Because it's on cable, and I'm a gamer.
I mean,
should have put it on Twitch.
No, I know, but
Right?
I didn't get to see the whole episode either because I too do not have cable. But Rod Breslow, so Slasher, was putting out some clips from the actual episode.
Yeah.
And no, it
Girl
was
Gamer
interesting.
one?
Yeah, the Girl Gamer one was really funny. I mean, there were just some moments in there that kind of do make sense, like the messy desk, obviously with Bart. Playing in the bathtub, not so much. I've never actually played. I guess I played Clash Royale maybe, but like.
Yeah, no, I
wouldn't.
try to
a
avoid
PC
electronics
game.
and water.
I know, yeah, that's a little scary. He did dress it up though with the plastic. And then like Nelson on the team, the thing is I don't see Nelson as a PC gamer. I don't see him
What,
as
you
PC
calling him a
gamer.
casual?
I'm not calling him a casual. Hold on. one, I'm not calling him a casual. I'm just saying he seems more of a console bro.
Yeah.
That's all.
I don't know.
He's a casual.
I don't know. A lot of people talking about it, but I feel like it was simply just a slightly irrelevant Simpsons franchise trying to come back. But then they put it on cable where no gamers are going to watch it anyway.
Shots fired by Brody Moore yet again.
They were stretching. Anyways, let's move on before they attack me. I got to say right now is Toy Story 4.
Oh.
It's looking pretty good. JK, it's Red Dead Redemption. but that's it. I want to see all the characters done.
I mean...
Like, can you imagine T-Rexes and little piggies?
I just don't know how you would have Buzz Lightyear in Red Dead. Like, where would that even be?
Oh, I guess that doesn't thematically
It doesn't. It just doesn't work. It could only be... Yeah, it can only be Woody and Jesse. That's the only thing that really works for Red Dead. Yeah.
Slinky Dog?
No, Slinky Dog, I mean, he would just have to be a regular dog. You can't, there's no Slinky Dog.
Well, it's,
just like
it's a fictional universe, Marissa.
I look at it as real, okay? Arthur Morgan is my boyfriend. And, yeah, moving on.
Okay.
Let us know who you think had a better day today. Press 1 in chat for me or 2 for Brody. Vote me. We'll see you next time, but until then, hit us up on all our socials at Squad State. We'll see you soon.
The latest game from Dark Souls and Bloodborne developer From Software looks just as dark, challenging, and downright awesome as its past work. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice is an action-adventure game set in the 16th century Japan, where you play as a shinobi who is left for dead after losing his arm in battle. He's rescued, had his arm replaced with a prosthetic, and goes on a roaring rampage of revenge against those who hurt his lord and left him to die. While it seems similar to Dark Souls and Bloodborne, Sekiro features fewer traditional RPG elements like character creation, equipment upgrades, and classes. Instead, you purchase skills on a skill tree that improve your abilities, such as improving your sword work with your new arm. And while you can slash at enemies to whittle down their health with a katana, it's better to attack enemies, poise, and balance so that you can create openings for devastating attacks. In addition, you have access to a grappling hook to reach high locations or taller enemies, and can use stealth to sneak around the world to perform devastating backstabs. The result is a game that is similar to, but completely unlike From Software's past work. Animations are smooth, the world design is spectacular, and it has a story that you'll slowly have to uncover by yourself. Put simply, Sekiro is another high-quality game from one of the most experienced studios in the world, and you owe it to yourself to give it a shot. One of the strangest and most popular anime franchises is getting a new game this week. Fate Extella Link is a sequel to 2016's Fate Extella Umbral Star, and while the names are really dumb, fans of the Fate series will find plenty to love here. Just like its predecessor, Fate Extella Link is a Dynasty Warrior-style game. You control a servant, each of whom are based off of historical figures, and destroy thousands upon thousands of enemies in each level. So yes, you can play as King Arthur as he defeats hordes of enemies with Excalibur. There is also a full set of skills for each character and plenty of equipable items that change the way you play. Plus, the animations for each character look pretty cool. New additions to the game include a fully explorable base, 10 new servants for you to play as, and new side missions that let you bond with other characters. Let's be real, this game will be incomprehensible for people who don't follow Fate. But for those who do, and if you're looking to play another Dynasty Warriors game, Fate Extella Link is worth checking out. One's in chat if you're getting this one, I legitimately want to know. The sequel to 2016's adorable platformer Unravel is finally hitting the Switch. Unravel 2 follows two Yarnies, creatures made entirely of yarn, as they navigate a world much larger than them. The fact that there are two Yarnies means that you can play the game co-op, though solo players will still be able to control two characters at once. The Yarnies need to work together to solve puzzles, untangling themselves from dangerous traps if they want to advance. The game comes with a full-length campaign with its own heartwarming story, as well as challenge levels that really ramp up the difficulty. The original Unravel is surprisingly great when it came out years ago, and its sequel looks to be just as cute and as fun as the first. If you want to solve some puzzles with some charming little creatures, Unravel 2 is your best bet this week. Square Enix isn't only releasing old Final Fantasy games on new consoles, they're also releasing spin-offs, such as this new entry in the Chocobo's Dungeon series. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, everybody, is a dungeon crawler where you control a chocobo as it explores dungeon after dungeon. The thing is, the world only moves when you move Chocobo, allowing you to plan out your exploration and battle plans. And yes, you will be fighting a lot of monsters. Rather than just being cute, and let's be clear, Chocobos are absolutely adorable, Chocobo can take on classic Final Fantasy jobs like Dark Knight and White Mage to fight monsters. You can also befriend monsters that you defeat to grow your party and explore more dangerous dungeons. Even better, Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon allows for co-op play, so you can explore dungeons with a friend if you want. All told, this is an adorable dungeon crawler that will definitely surprise Final Fantasy fans with its in-depth mechanics.
Ooh, I got my eyes on the game Sekiro. That game is looking really good, but I want to know what you guys are looking forward to the most, so hit us up on socials at Squad State. Right now, Ron and AJ are getting ready to talk about the Overwatch League and esports in 30, but first, let's check out this clip from the Green Room.
Have I told you guys my LeVar Burton story?
No, but I'm a huge LeVar Burton fan.
I got to interview him in Halifax for HalCon on stage, and I wanted to ask him a personal question about like career paths and such, because this wasn't too long after Interspace got canceled. So I was like, normally when I do these panels with celebrities, I just ask them like pointed questions that the fans would want. But I thought after doing that, I'll ask him one for myself because I've never really indulged in that before. Right. So I asked him like, you've had this amazing career. You've, Roots, Star Trek, Reading Rainbow. Was there ever a point in your career where you were unsure of what was going to happen next, or like a little bit concerned about, your future prospects? And how did you get through that? And he looked at me and he went, no.
He's like, I'm good.
I knew I was laughed from the crowd, and I went, oh, okay, well, moving on then. I was on Twitter, and I got a question from someone on Twitter. And this is from, and I'm blanking on his wife's name, but it was actually his wife. And I reached out to his wife directly and said, do you have a question? I'm going to be on a panel with him. And so she said, yeah, ask the chief engineer how he would repair a wet cell phone. So crowd's laughing at the question, and he's like, oh, okay, all right. Well, so I got my phone a bit wet, tried the rice thing, it didn't work. So then I thought, well, dry it off a little bit more, I'll just put it in the microwave.
Oh, no!
Squad. Welcome to Esports in 30 Overwatch Edition. This is the show where we take you even deeper into your favorite esports games. Today we've got so much action from the Overwatch League to get to. I am AJ Fry. Joining me on my journey on the couch, we got the coach of UC Irvine Overwatch, Ronald Renanthera Lee.
Renanthera, AJ.
Renanthera.
I'm on week 2.
There's so many syllables in your name.
It's in the dictionary. It's a real word. You can look it up.
Game under my real name. It's like 3 syllables.
Amateur.
AJ Fry.
Amateur.
I apologize. Reactions to the week so far and where we're sitting heading into the playoffs.
Interesting. Next week is probably going to be a little bit more consequential. I think week 5 was a little disappointing, but at least now we have our 8 teams going into playoffs, and we can watch that and be excited for that.
Well, I, for one, am very hyped, and we will get you up to my excitement level with some of these awesome highlights from the week.
Ready to just catch them. He can just go ahead and plant the grab, hit the wall. Here's the combo coming up. Self-destruct thrown in. And a triple! Michelle once again coming up with the goods. And this is Seoul Dynasty now. They will have the lock.
Seoul has now won the set, sending London Spitfire home.
trying to spot him.
God does not.
He's just pushing forward. Oh man, right out in front, locking him up. And it is it's a slaughter. Lock up RCK on the card, they pop him out of the mech and melt him down. Unco now going to be popping that Transcendence, just desperately trying to keep the rest of the squad alive as they wait for OG to rejoin, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Closer's going to be eliminated. Unco under fire, 100 energy color hex is coming for you. Takes him down, and ladies and gentlemen, we are going to game 5. Trying desperately to buy some time. Zachary the rally just trying to armor himself up, but he himself will be taking down the fire strike coming through. Boston Uprising looking for the reverse sweep, going the distance. The Dallas Fuel, just nothing that they can do. OG trying to make it back in. They get attacked from RCK on the back of the point with the Tracer, but he just has a sliver of HP, and he will be finished off. The Boston Uprising have done it in the end. Hugs all around the back, the shot calling from Fusion.
Absolutely brilliant shot calling again.
Maximum squad starting to sweat now. Spree wants to push forward. Raucus gets a very timely Transcendence and Spree pushes up. Darkly over that high ground. Gonna be a rally. Downberry now being used by the rain. There was an Earth Shatter attack. Oh, but connects. That is huge. Oh no! The rain. Well, they feel the earth move under their feet. Grenade there on the Bulls Mover. If they follow up on that on the rain, that would be huge. EMP now thrown into the mix, and immediately Raucus has to go for the Transcendence. Pokeball is knocked down. He's still being healed though. He stayed alive. The right half of the Atlanta Rain stands, and he gets free with one swing. Well, that's one way to send a message. And the Atlanta Rain will take the series, solidify this spot in the playoffs.
Oh, it came down to the wire on so many of those great games. And now we know all 8 of our playoff teams. And for a shorter week of action, it was certainly action-packed with so much on the line. Now to help Ron and I chat about all the Week 5 action and the playoff picture, it's Coach-a-Palooza up, and here is we welcome the coach of Blank Esports, Alex Sword-Simkovich, to the show. How's it going, Alex?
It's going great, AJ. How about you guys?
Doing pretty good.
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, long time no see, Sword.
Yeah, no, Ron, great to see you on the couch now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been like what, like almost, when's the last time we spoke? Like working with Team Canada?
Probably Team Canada, yeah, probably at this fine party, actually.
Yeah, time flies.
All right, guys, stop showing off on your credentials here, making me feel like a pleb down in Platinum League. We got to talk about some of these games. Of course, the first one, it was ultimately less exciting than we were all hoping for. Seoul going up against London. Seoul ultimately defeating London 3-0. Yeah, thoughts on this game?
One draw.
What? Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did time
on Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone draws on Temple.
It's a tough map to push to that second point on for sure.
Indeed.
Alex, any reactions to Seoul versus London?
Honestly, that's just like a huge win for not just Seoul, or not just the Seoul organization, but also Ryu himself, right? If you think about it, back in the day, Lunatic High struggled against GC Busan actually towards the finals, way back in Apex, and even then Seoul had this big rivalry with London Spitfire where they were unable to take a game actually against the Spitfire last season, so it's kind of a win. I saw a nice little Reddit meme where it's all the old players from Seoul. You have Ryu finally win a game against his opponents, so London Spitfire, and the meme is, Ryu's the only one left from Lunatic High, so at what cost did Seoul have to sacrifice to win against London Spitfire finally?
At what cost?
Well, Boston Uprising with the huge reverse sweep up against Dallas Fuel as well. Thoughts on that one? I mean, it's always fun to watch that happen. I mean, I guess not if you're Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, not if you're Jane on the Dallas Fuel right now. Some Canadians here feeling a little better this week. You know, some Canadians not. One Canadian that I'm sure does feel really happy about that would probably be Note on Boston. You know, had a good stand-up performance, always really consistent player. We worked with him, Sword, you know.
Yeah.
I think you and me both agree that he had a fantastic series against Dallas Fuel, even whipping out Tracer on Volts to clutch them out a little safely when it was getting hairy.
Yeah.
You know, when you're reverse sweeping, there's very little room for error, so I was very, very impressed with him personally, and you know, I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, no, honestly, like, Note, it kind of shows, like you're saying, Note is that kind of really consistent player that just continuously plays at a level that is such a high level, and he's flexible too, right? A lot of people know him for just Diva, but realistically speaking, if I'm not mistaken, way back in the day, he used to play DPS too,
yeah,
so
really
he does have that flexible hero pool. But the big thing that I would say that's the big victor, or the big kind of leadership role within Boston would be actually Fusion's. Fusion is such a great emotional leader, and you saw it kind of in the middle. I think at halftime, you saw that Fusion, they showed a clip where Fusion said, okay guys, like, keep cool, like, leading his team emotionally and showing like he's able to kind of lead. And we saw that at actually World Cup when Fusion played against, or not Fusion, sorry, the UK played against USA and South Korea, right? He was a huge monumental part of that team in order to make them win, and I think he's a great team for Boston, or a great piece for Boston as well.
Yeah, Giga Chad Fusions over here, really making a name for himself as the rookie of the season.
Yeah, sure.
Before we talk about Atlanta versus Houston, just talking about Note making that switch to Tracer, I noticed at least in this final week, it seemed like more teams were willing to switch off of goats.
Yeah, going more to DPS. I think Chengdu has slowly started to work their magic into the rest of the teams.
Massage the rest of the league. Hey guys, play.
I mean, the audience too. They were like craving DPS, booing goats. All stage. Right. So I think finally they're like, okay, well, teams don't want to be booed on stage all the time, and maybe the teams that are done or prepping for stage 2, going out of the goats meta into the DPS meta, are probably saying, might as well brush off the rust now before it's a little too late.
Well, one team that's obviously skilled at avoiding the boos, getting lots of cheers. The most bits in the league so far, Atlanta Reign, taking it to Houston Outlaws, 3-1 in their series, which was a pretty big win for them.
Should have been a 4-0, but Muma hit like a really big shatter on King's Row.
Right, it was a 6-man shatter?
Yeah, 6-man shatter down to the wire. Like they just had their Transforce, and then DeFran had grab, and Muma absolutely clutched it, absolute madman. And I know Sword probably has a lot to say about Atlanta because he's pretty close with them and their management.
That's what I wanted to hear, because Ron's been talking Atlanta at me all week here. So.
I love Atlanta. How do you not love Atlanta?
What are you saying, Sword?
Atlanta is such a great organization, not just the players there, right? I worked with a few of the players, Enlair and Dogman, both great players, really mechanically gifted players, and not just mechanically gifted. They bring a lot of hype. Like, you saw Dogman. Dogman's he's so willing to start kind of trash talking and get his team hyped. It kind of reminds me of what COD and what normal FPS shooters used to be, where you kind of rally up the crowd and get them hyped up, like, yeah, like, this team's shit, like, Cruz is a feeder, blah, blah, blah. But the coaching staff is also really good here. I have nothing but high praise for the Atlanta coaching staff. Steffi is such a great leader, and Silence, working with Silence as well. Silence is such a great kind of strategic coach, in the sense of he's able to explain how a composition should work within a theoretical, but also an adaptative state, which is really impressive. And bring in the analytics with that as well, and player development by Source, I really do feel like they have a nice kind of formula to create a successful team, not just within the players, but within the coaching staff as well.
Well, I actually wanted to ask you both about trash talk and coaching, both of you being coaches. Right. What are your stances with your team when it comes to trash talking? Because it's obviously an element of all sports, trying to get in the head of your opponent and mess with them. If you've ever solo queued for Overwatch, you'll find yourself listening to all kinds of toxic, horrible trash talk, but then there's like appropriate trash talk. So what are your approaches with your teams when it comes to that subject?
I try not to force it. I think if it's in the player's personality, if it's like for Dogman, like he mentioned on stage, it's more of a personal thing.
Yeah.
He feels like he's more he performs better if he's invested in the game. There's like some sort of personal attachment or connection with his enemies. You can put I think a face and a name, and then maybe even a personal narrative with him. Then it's appropriate, it's good for him, it's good for the team, and it's genuine, it's authentic.
Right.
I wouldn't ever force a player to do it for views or whatever.
Yeah, and I think not going to reprimand them if it's done well.
No, I mean, I think there's a time and a place, and most of the time it's appropriate as long as you're not using like slurs or any derogatory terms or whatever like that.
Yeah, if it's in-game trash talking,
that's totally
calling people
appropriate.
Feeders and such. Is that your perspective as well, sort of? Do you have a different approach?
Honestly, no, I agree with Ron. Like, it's
he encourages teabagging though. I've talked to him. He's like, I want them to do.
You gotta have the nice little banter in there. If you don't have the banter, why are you even playing a competitive game?
I agree wholeheartedly.
But realistically speaking, as Ron said, like, it shouldn't be forced, right? You shouldn't be doing it for views or anything. If anything, I feel like it's a strong tool to utilize in terms of team momentum and kind of just getting the mindset right in the correct way. Yeah. But it's also a coach's job, if a trash talk is happening like in the middle of a scrim or a match or anything along those lines, right? You have to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. I think that's the most important thing about it. Sometimes players will let that get out of hand, and they'll think so poorly about the enemy team, for example, that they kind of let their guard down, and from there they let simple mistakes happen, which is the only thing you got to worry about when you're doing this trash talk kind of stuff. But overall, I think it's a great kind of momentum thing that can help a team really finish off and secure the deal on a lot of wins.
Yeah. Well, one team that finally secured a win, Washington Justice versus Florida. It was a clown fiesta of a match for sure, the back and forth. But Ado finally picking up his first win in Overwatch League.
To him. Like we saw him he didn't cry, but he's pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, we saw his teammates, how happy they were for him, kind of like shaking him, like, hey, congratulations.
I think in his post-game interview, he said, I was planning on crying if we lost.
Planning on crying. He's like, all right, well, if I do win here, I got to get ready. Got to get the theatrics going.
But it's like 83 losses before this big win. Are Washington Justice now going, do they have a shot at getting better?
Well, they did that big announcement last night. I'm sure you saw it, Sword. Arc from the New York, you know, making that transfer over, but no to him or not. But yeah, early rumors at the beginning of the league said that Arc was probably going to make that trade, and may it be budget concerns or what have you, things didn't pan out. But it looks like he's made the switch now, and you know, coming off of at least their first win, maybe that tiny bit of momentum is something that they need, and a new shot caller or whatever could probably help. He's having worked with Wizard Young and Giannis before. They're kind of looking like New York XS, you know, extra small. Maybe they're not, you know, large and
New York Light.
Yeah, New York Light, XL 2.5 or whatever. Like, jokes aside, like they will look better with this. But the question for me is how much. Sword, do you think there'll be a lot better, only a little bit better? How much of a change does this really matter for you?
It's like a really hard thing to talk about Washington, right? There's a lot of beef going on about Wizard, right? About how he started out with a team and it seemed like he wanted to prove I can coach players that I feel are not maybe the best players in the world.
The Moneyball approach, right?
Are mediocre in a sense, right? Yeah, like the Moneyball approach in the sense where it's like I can coach these players up and then show people how good of a coach I am. My only fear with it is, so far from what we've seen, in my opinion, this meta, and I'm sure you would agree with me, Ron, is this meta is the easiest way to kind of coach players, and it's very team oriented, right? It's not like the other metas where it's like, okay, it's you know, mechanical pop off, somebody might pop off and get like 5 with a Dragon Blade or something like that, right? It's very much team oriented. This composition, the GOAT's composition is very much each piece is equal weight in a sense, and if one person flips, then everything kind of goes downhill from there, right? So in my opinion, the Arc pickup is a really good one. It allows for a lot more decisive decision making, and I think that's something that Washington really struggled with, is being decisive. It seemed like they were really hesitant with regard to how to approach the game. They didn't really make the most decisive decisions all the time. You saw Janus go in by himself a lot of the time. So I think it will help a lot, but I don't think it will solve their core issues, which is how the team as a whole kind of move and the decision makings that each of them use independently.
Well, a team that needs no help or lineup changes, Vancouver, bumping New York XL from the #1 spot. Bumper leading the charge there.
Nice one, very smooth, very subtle.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, like Vancouver, we saw them whip out like Genji last night. You know, we can see that. Amazing at 3-3 or GOATs, but you know, Runaway has traditionally always been really good at playing other things as well. So yeah, going 7-0 right now with, I think they're actually first seed with a better map differential than New York. So tell us what you think about Vancouver, Sword.
I think Vancouver is probably the best team that we've ever seen in Overwatch history, in all honesty.
That's a hot take.
Actually, it's really funny because I'm doing that based off of Sideshow. I'm taking Sideshow credit for Sideshow stuff. He has like a Reddit clip where it's like, they're the best team ever. And like, honestly, they are though. They have such great synergy between each other, right? This is a team that's been together for a whole year. And these are veterans that have been around the scene forever, right? Since the beginning of really premier Overwatch, right? All these people have played pretty much in Overwatch Contenders Apex over in Korea, right? You have Stitch, you have Slime, you have Raffle, you have Bumper, you have Hacksaw, right? You have Hureg, who was also on the London Spitfire, right? And they're guided by some really good coaches as well, right? You have Avon, Young One, who is their coach on Runaway. You have Parsha, who brings in more ALO experience from San Francisco Shock as their analyst, right? So overall, I really do feel like this team is the core for success, not just because they're great mechanically gifted players, but because of the synergy and the experience that it comes in from being on a team together for a year and having that experience straight from the beginning of Overwatch's real epiphany within competitive Overwatch.
So are you calling it right now? This is going to be a complete dominant season for them? You know, just wins consecutively, no losses, going right to the end?
I don't know about that one. I think New York will give them a run for their money for sure, because you can never count out New York, right? New York, if you look at last split, they were a very consistent team. They won multiple splits. Just when it came to playoffs, right, for the finals, they kind of just fell apart. It seemed like they weren't the team that everybody knew. It seemed like they were struggling a lot with GOATs. Maybe there was, back then, it was a really big clash in philosophies, apparently, between Pavon and Wizard on how do we approach GOATs, like can we actually counter GOATs and not play GOATs, right? And it was also not just GOATs, but like the Arista compositions and such as well too, right, with Double Sniper. So the problem comes, can New York kind of keep up their form? And I think if New York can keep up their form, it's actually a 50-50 in my opinion. It's really about, can the challenger take down this veteran of a champion, or is the challenger going to crumble and fall in a very long and pressured series?
So you're backpedaling. You're saying,
yeah,
oh, we did the best, but you know.
Can we roll back about like 2 minutes ago?
Did the best, but now it's 50-50.
To 50-50.
No. Well, I think we should move on a little bit onto Chengdu. You know, Vancouver and New York, awesome teams. It's going to be really close.
It's like there's the Premier League in Overwatch, New York versus Vancouver, and then there's everyone else fighting for who could potentially be the leader of that pack.
We'll bite at their ankles until we're ready.
Yeah, is it going to be San Francisco, or is it Chengdu moving into stage 2 after this playoff round?
Both have huge players of, DPS players. They're really good. Yeah. I think Shock has been praised across the board for, having a ton of DPS, or all highly skilled across the board. I think Chengdu looks really good on DPS now, especially Jinmu on his Pharah. He's stood out a lot alongside Amang and kind of capitalizing on chaos. But it's hard to compare, I think, just how good their DPS are, because we haven't had a DPS-centric meta. You're just comparing how much they can slaughter immobile targets. Sword, in your opinion, who do you think has the scariest DPS lineup in all the league?
You can't pull out Shock of that yet, right? Like, you have Architect, you have Sinatra, right? Baby Bay down in the wing too, right? Nevix could also flex technically to DPS, even though he is known as the off tank as well. They have a lot of strong players on that team, so I would give the edge to Shock. But with that being said, I respect Ryu very highly as a coach as well. Going against him in World Cup, when it was China versus Team Canada, I definitely underestimated China, and China did it incredibly well. Ryu knows what he needs to do for each individual player, and we see it, right? Sometimes Chengdu just pull out like amazing plays out of their back pocket, and their DPS players, like you said, though they're hitting mobile targets, right? They're still making some pretty nice plays against GOATs. It's still really hard to make DPS work against GOATs. So I think that Chengdu can surprise a lot of people, especially if they get, I believe it was their other tank, I can't say his name, I'm so sorry. GQ Ren, there you go. I think if they get GQ Ren, that might change up stuff a little bit more, because apparently Among is known more for just playing Hammond and not really anything else. So I'm really curious to see what will happen when he comes over. But for now, I'd give it to Shock, just because they're more experienced, they're more veteran, and they just have, Shock has looked like a dominant team for a long period of time, not just this season, but last season as well, towards the end when Coach Trusty was there to kind of lead them.
Yeah, I think most people would agree that Shock is looking pretty scary coming into stage 2.
Well, let's talk playoffs for a second. We're in a bit of a precarious situation here, as today there's a coin flip right between Toronto and Philly to find out where they're sitting and who they're going up against.
And neither of those teams probably want to win the coin flip either.
That's exactly why they decided to do it with a coin flip.
Yeah, they're like, we'll agree because
to lose the match. Right. So the loser who wins the coin flip
are the winners at the end of the day. Yeah. Losers win, winners lose.
Yeah. It's Overwatch League!
I'm getting nightmares of coin flip from like season 1 and 2. That's pretty scary.
Ultimately, to you both, what are the other teams? It's obviously New York versus Vancouver for this playoff round. Yeah. So what are the other teams hoping to accomplish here in this? Is it about getting, that coveted 3rd place now, or is this just an opportunity to give your players some, action on the playoff stage?
So I'm going to dodge the question.
Cool.
And I'm going to say, it's not unanimous. It's not definite that Vancouver are going to end up playing New York. There's a spot in my heart as a defiant fan that, they will be partaking in that final. Is this upside down? I can't tell. But regardless, I'm going to totally go with my heart here for once and say Toronto going to make it to the final. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say, Sword.
Hey, I'm with you. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I want an all-Canadian final.
Looking at this league the way that it is.
Don't tell me the odds.
Being rational.
You can keep your stats. I prefer the Magic. Okay, Sword. How about you? Like, what
are you thinking?
Yeah, what are you
thinking?
thinking?
Playoffs?
So for me, like, of course, I have full faith in Toronto. I have faith in Coach Bishop. I have faith in what he's put together. You know, a lot of people underestimated Defiant, and he's shown that with really unsought talent within Korea in the O2 kind of area and the team, he was able to create such a great team from rookies and veterans alike. And honestly, going back to your question, because I'm not going to dodge your question, AJ, is I really do feel like these expansion teams already have proven what they need to improve, right? A lot of the time going in just before the stage started, everyone was saying, oh man, the expansion team's got to catch up. They will be hopeful if they make it into playoffs. But look at them. We have 3 expansion teams in the playoffs, and they all look very strong. So for me, if I'm in an expansion team, it's really good. You have proven that you can contend with the top guys. Just stay there. And as for the other ones, I honestly feel like Boston, Seoul, and Shock have a lot to prove. They need to prove that they can still make it towards the top. They can still have competitive games against, you know, Philadelphia Fusion, these new expansion teams coming in, Vancouver, Defiant, and Reign, and also still contend against New York, right? New York's still a juggernaut. They still have to prove that they can go up against that. And right now, I don't know if a lot of those teams can. I don't think really almost any team can go against New York and Vancouver right now. They're just at a completely different level. Except for Toronto.
Sorry, come on, don't get ahead of yourself.
The Magic, you know, but it's really hard. It's a lot to prove.
We are starting to run out of time, but we do have a couple of questions for you from Twitter before we let you go, Sword. This first one is from Ron Lee, who wants to know, who do you think is the most underrated in the Overwatch League? Which player is the most underrated in the Overwatch League? And which player do you think is the most overrated?
That is a really tough question, actually, to really think. I've been thinking about this since, like, yesterday when I saw it, but I think, honestly, the most overrated player, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, is Bumper, actually. I think Bumper is one of the most overrated players within the Overwatch League, and it's only because his style, if you took that style out into any other team,
he would feed.
I don't think it would work. He would just feed all the time, and everyone that's like, oh, Bumper's insane, Bumper's a god, like, I like, think about it, and I'm like, no, he's not. It's just his team supports him so well. It's just Vancouver's been so long.
I feel like he plays that way partially because he understands that the team can support him that way. I think he's smarter than to just run in, shields down, hammer up with anybody. But I can see that point. I can see that argument as well. I'm curious to see, maybe in an alternate universe on some other team, he would be looking a lot less hot right now.
And we do have one more question for you. This is from X-Classic Ninja. Wants to know, why play a dying game like Overwatch when you could play a real game like Rocket League, Trollface?
Ooh, that's a really hard one. I think the big reason why is because I like to shoot things. I don't like to pass soccer balls into nets, you know, and mechanical cars. So I think you got to step up your game if you're like going to that kind of
question?
I was wondering if it was.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We're in the future, right? It's a sci-fi setting, like cars and wheels. We have hovercraft. We have cyborg ninjas.
You got Lucio Ball in Overwatch. If you want to do some
Step
Rocket Leaguing. All right, Sword, we got to let you go, but it has been an absolute pleasure having you on Esports in 30. Best of luck as you chase that contender's crown, my friend.
Thank you very much. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
You.
Well, all right, Ron, we got 5 minutes left, and that should be just enough time to talk all about Baptiste, the new player, dropping today in Overwatch, obviously unavailable to the teams heading into playoffs this week, but will be around for the second stage of this second season of Overwatch League. I'm a support main myself.
Me too.
Yeah,
we have that in common.
Yes.
Look at this.
We're both supportive kind of guys.
Yeah.
That's why people like us.
Well, most. No one at the studio.
Just put those guys on the couch. That way we don't have to talk to them.
Yeah, there we go.
What are your thoughts on this character? You've actually played him on the PTR.
Yeah.
I have not yet. I'm typically like wait until it's live and they've worked out all the bugs. What are your reactions to the character so far?
I'm having a lot of fun. So I think unlike you, I think you play more Lucio, more Moira.
Lucio, Moira secondary than Zen. Yeah. That's
so
my
I play a lot
stagger.
I play a lot of Zen. I play a lot of Ana. You know, I like shooting things.
Yeah.
So Baptiste is right up my alley. I think his name is Jean Baptiste, something like that. He's from the Caribbean, maybe like Haiti or something. He has that French accent.
No one cares about his backstory. What are his abilities and how will it affect the meta, Ron?
Listen, so he can shoot. He can shoot things, which is nice. He has a burst gun.
When they announced they're doing a new support, I was like, what we need in the current state of things is a support character who's got to hit fire.
Yeah, I mean, they're meta-defining, typically. So we've had a stale meta for like forever now. It was due time. We got some fresh faces in the game. Yeah. And I think he is very unique. I don't know if this is necessarily better or worse moving into the future. Because on one hand, I'm sick of seeing tanks and supports every game. Yeah. I do think the other changes on PTR help eliminate that going forward. But he seems oppressive in his own ways, mainly because of his immortality drone. Right. Which, for those of you that don't understand or aren't on PTR, he can set down this drone that sits kind of above your team and deploys this area that prevents you from dying.
So it's kind of like Winston's bubble, except...
Yeah, you'll take the damage, but you won't go below like your last 10% or something.
Oh, that's how it works. So you can, okay, but then the second that the invulnerability shield is gone, then can't you wipe with all the damage that has been done?
Yes, but it lasts quite a while. I think it lasts like almost like 10 seconds or something. Right. So the counterplay is that you can actually shoot down the drone. It has 250 HP. So once you shoot it down, it's gone. You can proceed with the murder and the massacre.
So it's basically like, here's a Mei who has...
Yeah, it's like a protective Mei Blizzard, I guess is how you can look at it. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot smaller, obviously, but that's an incredibly strong ability. And in a shooter, it's God mode. You have God mode on a basic ability. It's not an ultimate, which we haven't even got to yet, but that's absolutely insane as well.
What's his ultimate then?
He sets up a square. It's a amplification matrix.
The amplification barrier, except not a barrier.
That matrix, for those of you that do not know, any projectiles that do damage that go through it will be doubled, and there's also no cap to how much it stacks with other amplification abilities. So if Zenyatta puts Discord on a target and you nano boost, let's say a McCree, and then he uses his ultimate through the amp matrix, that will do like 1,000. It'll insta-kill the entire team.
Oh my goodness.
But not only does it double damage, it also doubles healing, which means you could use it to top off your team, which is really nice. It's a nice bonus.
It's high noon, twice as bad.
That's good.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow, you'd be a great understudy for Matt Mercer. That's awesome. Yeah.
So is there a chance that this could potentially like flip the meta entirely, where we go back to single healer and it's Baptiste and teams just play around him? Or are we at best just going to avoid goats and go back to our standard 2-2-2 lineup?
So from what I've seen in my practices and experimenting and stuff like that, he does seem very strong in a GOATS team. Yeah. But the problem is, sure, he's strong in GOATS, but he's stronger in other things. So even though, like, a couple of pros are worried that, well, now we just switch out Brig, which was one problematic hero, for another. Yeah. But they nerfed Lucio, which made GOATS a lot weaker. Yeah. And Baptiste works a lot better when he can bunker down and kind of stay in a unified group with his team that could, spam things like Junkrat or Bastion or Risa. Right. He synergizes really well with those characters. And I don't know, if Bastion starts becoming meta, is that...
We did see him in competitive play this week.
I mean, is that good though? Do we want Bastion to be meta-defining? We know what happens when Bastion had that small buff a while back, that Ironclad buff. Oh. That needed to be hotfix. That's the only time Overwatch has ever had a hotfix because it was so broken.
I have never been as upset with a game for a change than that moment when I went up to a Bastion with Reaper and like put 4 shots at point blank range. It was like he didn't die.
No, it was like the Terminator.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The Omnic Crisis, like Second World War, whatever levels of terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, final topic for us, Ron, before we sign off. Who was your player of the week at the conclusion of this first stage?
So last week we went with Ameng for kind of
amazing ball play,
amazing ability
to rise to the
allowing
occasion
DPS to play, right? This week we're going to do the opposite, which is we're going to praise a player for enabling amazing GOATS play. This kind of ties into what Sword said before. So he says, Bumper and any other team would look really bad because he doesn't get that sort of support. So we're going to honor those supports today, namely one in particular, in Twilight on the Vancouver Titans, who, a lot of people last season were saying, Jonak, MVP of the season, best Zenyatta we've ever seen. Right. No one could top him this season.
That's because Runaway weren't in the league.
Yeah, exactly. So now they came in, and you have Twilight here, who, some people were like, yeah, he's good, but is he better than Jonak? A couple of casters say so. A couple people were saying, well, no, you have Shu on the Guangzhou Charge, who, great flex support in his own right, good Ana, good Zen, contention for Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Twilight made him look like he manhandled him in that series, right? The 4-0. Sure, we're not we can't just evaluate individuals because on a team level.
Yeah.
But at least comparing these teams, Twilight looked like he had a huge emphasis on the win, massive damage on Zen.
Yeah.
I think you brought up some sort of stat.
Unless I'm misquoting, I could have swore I saw it saying something like 19k healing and then like 14 or 15k damage,
which is absolutely absurd.
For a Zen, is bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's probably out damaging his Rhine, who's like, at least on some maps, which is the kind of the crux of the GOAT's composition. So props to Twilight, keeping his tanks up, keeping his whole team up with his transes, enabling that aggressive play style, minimizing deaths, doing pretty much everything. Like, what more could you want from a support player? Yeah, he's gonna kill the whole team, he's gonna keep your team up, he's gonna style on the enemy. What more do you want?
You ready for this amazing transition? You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Well, it's the twilight of our show now, as it's time to say goodbye. That's all the time we have for Overwatch today. Thank you to Sword, thank you to Ron, and thank you out there for watching. Don't forget that we will be back here next week for more Overwatch coverage, especially with the playoffs happening. And tomorrow, tune in, same time, same place for another Esports in 30, all about fighting games, as we welcome James Chen to talk about the final round.
Thank you to Ron and AJ for getting us caught up on the Overwatch League because so much has happened. Anyways, that's it for today. Shout out to Red Bull for fueling us while we play in the green room. Remember, you can catch the green room live every day, Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You never know who's gonna stop by or what we'll be eating that day. And then tomorrow we're gonna do it all again. We got another unmuted, more reported, and in Esports in 30 tomorrow, we got the one and only James Chen calling in to talk about Street Fighter Final Round. So be sure to message us on socials at Squad State. You can submit even a question for him, and we may select it to ask him tomorrow. So until then, we'll see ya.